Okay, I will start today's session. From the previous two sessions, we are discussing about types of plan. Okay, types of plan include vision statement. Vision is one type of plan. Then mission statement. Then objectives of the organization. Then strategies of the organization. Then operational plans. So these are the five different types of plans. Okay, and these are set by different levels of management, or people working at different levels of management are going to set these plans. Okay, or they are going to frame these plans: vision, mission, okay, objective, strategies, and operational plans. Till now we have discussed about vision, mission, objectives, and strategies. Okay, in today's class we are going to discuss about operational plans. Okay, in operational plans there are two types: repetitive and non-repetitive. Okay, so and we are going to discuss about them. Non-repetitive are also called as single-use plans. Repetitive plans are also known as standing plans. Operational plans. These plans act as means of implementing the organization's strategy. In the previous class, we discussed about organizational strategy. It depends on environmental appraisal and corporate appraisal. Environmental appraisal means so based on what is happening outside the organization. Okay, so based on that also organizations must set their strategies. Okay, and based on the strengths and weaknesses of every organization, so they are going to consider the strengths and weaknesses whenever they are framing the strategy, or they are going to conduct SWOT analysis. Okay, strength, weakness, opportunities. Okay, so they are going to evaluate all those things. Two types of operational plans are standing plans and single use plans. Standing means so repeatedly you are going to make use of these type of plans. Okay, they will repeat. Okay, whereas single use plan, they are like use and throw. So they may be valid for 1 year, 5 year, like that. Okay, if you consider 5 year plans adopted by the nation, so those 5 year plans are valid for 5 years. Okay, similarly you have annual plans, they are valued for 1 year. Okay, so this similarly you may have in case of mobile data also we have monthly plan. Okay, or 3 months plan, 84 days plan. So they are the single use plans. Okay, so standing plans. These plans are designed for situations that recur, that means that will repeat often enough to justify a standardized approach. These include policies, procedures, methods, and rules. Okay, these are all part of standing plans. What is the difference between policy, procedure, method, and rules? First, consider policy and procedure. What is the difference between policy and procedure? Manish Raj. Manish Raj. Okay, Mohammed Tafim. What is the
Sir.
difference policy and procedure?
Sir?
What is the difference between policy and procedure?
Sir, policy is a scheme, like scheme.
Procedure?
Is the way of which we follow, sir, procedure from starting to end.
Okay. So policy
For example,
means, give the
in,
example.
sir, in we follow the procedure for conducting experiments. Sir.
So policy means policy is a framework. Policy is a framework where you don't have much details in it. Okay, or policy is a framework. In order to implement policy, you need procedure. Okay, so policy is the generalized statements. In order to implement policies, you need procedures. That means procedures are more specific than policy. Okay, so policy have some amount of flexibility. Okay, if you consider the malpractice policy of MCE, that means what it say, you cannot do copying from others, or you cannot use mobile phone, or you cannot keep cheats while writing exams. Okay, so that is the malpractice policy. Then there is a procedure will visit procedure, how malpractice will be booked. For that, there is a defined procedure. Okay, that is the difference between policy and procedure. Policy is a framework, whereas procedure is how that policy will be implemented. Okay, so that is defined by the procedure. Next, method. What is the difference between procedure and method? Hmm? What is the difference between procedure and method? Okay, so you can consider the example of machining. Okay, if you want to make a component from the work part, you have to remove material. Okay, that is the procedure. Next method is whether you will prefer turning operation, whether you will pick milling operation, whether you go for drilling. That is the method. Okay, so it is one step of the procedure. Okay, so method is one step of the procedure. Policy is the framework. Procedure is how we are going to implement the policy. Method is a part of the procedure. Okay, if you want to convert a raw material into finished product. Okay, so procedure might be you have to do machining process. Again, method is you have to choose a specific type of machining process. It may be again milling, drilling, or turning operation, or grinding. Okay, so depending on the requirement. Next, rules. So in a lab, okay, if you are working in machine shop, rules is they will give you the dimension. Okay, so they may say you can follow any manufacturing process, but the finished product should have this much dimension. Okay, so that is the rule. Or you have to finish this work part, okay, in 3 hours duration. That is the rule. Okay, so that means what you can understand by this is these are interrelated. Okay, policy is the general framework, procedure is how we are going to implement this policy, methods are parts or steps of procedure, rules is what you can do or what you cannot. Okay, so that is defined by the rule. Okay, so rules are very rigid. Okay, you cannot violate the rules, they are very rigid. Policies are flexible. Okay, so procedures also you have some amount of flexibility, freedom to choose various steps or various methods. Okay, so a policy is a general guideline for decision making. It sets up boundaries around decisions. Advantages of having policies. Policies ensure uniformity of action in respect of various matters at various organizational points. Okay, so again you can consider the policy related to malpractice. Okay, if you are what is the procedure? There is policy. Policies speed up decisions at lower levels. So that means even invigilator or squad is going to take decision. The reason is they know the policy. What is the policy of MCE related to malpractice? Since they are aware of the policy, so immediately they can make decision. Okay, they need not worry what need to be done. Okay, after this, there is no confusion. Since policy, there is policy, so they have clarity what to do when some student is caught under malpractice. Policies make it easier for the superior to delegate more and more authority to his subordinates. That means because of this policy, okay, so subordinates know what to be done, what need to be done, okay, when some action need to be taken. So because of the policy, everything is clear to the subordinates. There are different types of policies. Okay, so these policies can be classified based on the sources. Originated policies. So these are policies framed by top managers. Okay, so that is the originated policies. Top managers will frame these policies. Next, appeal policies. These are framed based on the appeal made by a subordinate to his superior. So that means at times workers may demand for a salary hike, and management may take decision to increase 10% of the salary every year based on the appeal from the worker, that is based on the request from the worker. So those type of policies are known as appealed policies. Okay, we can consider the change in time of today's class, okay, based on the appeal from students. Okay, I have changed the timings from 4:30 to 12 since we have internals at 6 o'clock. So based on your request, okay, I made the changes in the time. Okay, so that is also one of the appeal policy. Okay, based on the request by subordinates. Okay, so policy will be changed. Okay, that is the appealed policy. Next, implied policies. These are policies which are stated neither in written nor verbally. Okay, at times some will take random decisions. Okay, so there is that is not already defined. Okay, immediately they will take decision that is not written anywhere, or even that is not communicated to the subordinates before. Those type of policies are called as implied policies. These are random policies which are taken at that particular instant or particular time at that situation. Okay. Next, there are externally imposed policies imposed by external agencies such as government, trade associations, and if you the policies of the government. Okay, and it is having impact on all manufacturing companies, all service companies. Okay, it is not GST. The amount of tax need to be paid by the manufacturing company is not defined. It's not decided by the company. It is decided by the government. Okay, so that they are the externally imposed policies. Okay, and again because of the relation between so for example, because of the relation between India and China. Okay, if government say don't import some components or raw materials from China, then again that is a policy imposed on the company. Company is not deciding that we are not going to import from China. It is the policy imposed by the government. Okay, so always these external policies are imposed by, most of the times imposed by governments. At times even trade associations and trade unions based on the well-being of, or by considering the interest of the companies, manufacturing companies. At times trade unions also take decisions, or trade associations like FICCI, okay, ASSOCHAM. So these are some of the trade associations related to trade and commerce and manufacturing sector in this country. Okay, there are many trade associations like ASSOCHAM, FICCI. Okay, so like that. So what they will do, businessmen will discuss and they will come to some conclusions or some decisions. Okay, so they are also externally imposed policies. Next, classification on the basis of functions. So again, it may be production policies. Production policy may be, okay, how much in what quantity a particular product need to be produced. That is the production policy. Okay. Then sales policy. Okay. So we have to sell a particular product in which countries, in which states. Okay. That is the related to the market. Okay. Whether it should be a sell inside the country or it should be exported to other nations. Okay, that is the sale policy of the company. Or it may be whether to sell a product if there is no demand for a product, whether to reduce the cost of the product or not. That is also a sales policy of some of the companies. Okay, you have seen some of the textile companies, they will sell their products at very less cost. They say we want to, okay, so we want to sell, or we want to sell the okay, so old brands or old designs of the textile, okay, so that we are selling at a concession price, okay, so that is the policy of some of the companies. Not all companies will follow that, okay. Next, finance policies are related to from which banks at which interest rate we need to get money, or we need to borrow money from banks at what interest rate. So there may be the financial policies, okay. Personal policies are related to managing human resource. That means when to recruit new people or new graduates, okay, in what numbers. Then if the company has to make a decision regarding recruitment of CEO, whether someone at the top management need to be promoted to CEO position, or it should be hired from other companies, okay, those are the personal policies. Next, classification on the basis of organizational level. Major company policies, major departmental policies, minor or derivative policies applicable to the smallest segment of the organization. So major company policies are set by top management, department policies are set by top management and middle level management. Okay, top management will set these policies by consulting the department heads. Okay, minor or derivative policies are set by middle level management by consulting the first level managers, okay, and these are applicable compared to major company policies. These derivative policies are applicable only to some set of people, or some only for certain department. It may, some policies may be applicable to shop floor, some may be applicable to sales division of the company or organization. Okay, next, guidelines for effective policy be stated in writing and should be clearly understood by those who are supposed to implement them. Okay, so recently we go for a lockdown. Okay, that is also one of the policies adopted by the central government to tackle the problem of coronavirus. Okay, so lockdown is the policy. Okay, so policies should, as far as possible, be stated in writing. You know the circulars issued by the central government. Yeah, I think some of the circulars you might have read in WhatsApp or any other through other media. Okay, and should be clearly understood by those who are supposed to implement them. Suppose if the central government took decision to go for lockdown, first before implementing this lockdown, they should have realized the consequences and why they took this decision. Okay, like that, if someone is taking a decision regarding any organization, so they must be aware of the consequences of that particular policy. Okay, what are the benefits or what are the challenges that may arise because of a particular policy chosen for implementation. Next, policies should make their purpose clear, define the appropriate methods, action and responsibilities, and define the limits of freedom of action permitted to those whose actions are to be guided by them. Okay, now consider the same example of a policy called a lockdown. Okay, policies should make their purpose clear. Okay, now what is the purpose of implementing nationwide lockdown? Okay, so it was implemented. Okay, for more than 1.5 to 2 months it was implemented. Okay, now do you know the purpose of implementing related so corona pandemic? Uh,
To avoid community spread.
okay, to avoid community spread. Okay, any other answers? Worship Varshit. Mohan Gowda.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what was the purpose of a policy called nationwide lockdown? What was the purpose?
Sir, to avoid coronavirus
To avoid
spread.
coronavirus. Okay. Now you know corona. Okay, so now also there are more number of cases. But why they are not going for lockdown now?
Sir, since it was beginning, the government needed some time to take some decisions, sir. That's why they went with lockdown.
Okay. So, does government made it clear to its citizens why it is going for lockdown? Does it communicate the actual reason for going for lockdown? Okay, if it has communicated, that is the good policy. If it is not communicated, then that is ineffective policy. Okay, so that's why whenever if it is a government or any management of a company, if they are implementing any policy, the purpose should be very clear. Okay, why lockdown is implemented. Okay, so the actual purpose for implementing lockdown was, it is difficult. Now we realize, okay, so with the help of lockdown, you cannot avoid this problem of corona pandemic. Okay, you cannot go for lockdown for number of months or a complete year. Okay, so what benefit we were able to gain with the help of lockdown was, we were able to enhance or improve the infrastructure, medical infrastructure. Okay, it may be increasing the number of ventilators, it may be increasing the number of beds, or it may be framing the policies to regarding how to make use of private hospitals. Okay, or what should be the fee structure. Okay, and supplying oxygen cylinders, or ensure there will be enough supply of medical oxygen. Okay, and there will be enough number of PPE kits, like that. That world. Okay, so many countries adopted. They, most of the countries, they don't go for entire nation lockdown. Okay, they go for certain zones lockdown of some states, like that, some district. Okay, the purpose was to so improve the medical infrastructure. Okay, like that, policy should make their purpose clear, why they are implementing. Okay, then define the appropriate methods. Okay, that means this is the nationwide lockdown was the policy implemented by central government. Then they have to define the appropriate methods so that state governments will follow these methods to implement the nationwide lockdown. Then action, responsibilities, and define the limits of freedom of action. Again, some freedom should be given to state governments based on the local requirements. They need to make some modifications. Okay, so similarly in organization also, there must be some freedom at the department levels when they are implementing this policy. Okay, so these are this will make a policy effective. Otherwise, it will lead to lot of confusion. Okay, and the overall policy itself will become ineffective if this is not followed. To ensure successful implementation of policies, the top managers and the subordinates who are supposed to implement them must participate in their formulation. This is very important. Okay. Now, do you think before implementing nationwide lockdown, central government consulted all state governments? Whether central government consulted all state governments before implementing lockdown? Whether it consulted or not, what is your opinion or what is your observation? Right. Devraj. Right.
Yes, sir.
ಸರ್
Okay.
ಹೇಳ್ತಿದೆ.
ಕೇಳ್ತದೆ ಹೇಳಿ. Unmute yourself. So ನಿಮ್ದು ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ. Okay. So to ensure successful implementation of policies, the top managers and the subordinates who are supposed to implement them must participate in their formulation. So that means in case of announcing nationwide lockdown, okay, the central government must, in order to ensure proper implementation of the policy, if in order to become these policies effective, it should consult all state governments, okay, before taking any decision. That means if prime minister want to make an announcement, okay, which is implemented throughout the nation, he must consult all chief ministers of all states, okay. So that is, then only that policy can be implemented successfully, okay, or in an effective way. That is the meaning. Then only that policy can become effective. A policy must strike a reasonable balance between stability and flexibility. That means there must be some flexibility at the middle level or low level of the management. That means if central government comes up with some policy, okay, there must be some flexibility to make certain modifications. Okay, some states may want to make modifications in the policy, okay, then there must be some flexibility, okay. Different policies in the organization should not pull in different directions and should support one another. So that means there should not be contradictions, okay. So during lockdown also, if some states implement lockdown and if some states don't implement at that time, then you know the consequences, okay. That's why when a policy is implemented for the entire nation or for the entire organization, okay, every department of the organization should support that policy or should move towards achieving the objective of the policy, okay. Policy should not be detrimental to the interest of the society. That means detrimental means it should not be harmful, okay. It should not have negative impact on the society. Policy should not be detrimental to the interest of the society. Policy must be comprehensive to cover as many contingencies as possible. Contingencies means, so there will be some unexpected circumstances that may arrive, okay, so while implementing the policy. So policy maker should anticipate that also, okay. So and it should policy should consider those contingencies. That means unexpected circumstances. Policies should be periodically reviewed in order to see whether they are to be modified, changed, or completely abandoned and new ones put in their place. Okay, you can consider the another policy of the government, that is GST. Okay, every year there is a GST council that includes finance ministers from different states, okay, some of the economic advisors of the government, and a finance minister of central government, okay. In an year they will all these people, okay, so they will conduct a GST council meeting, okay. In that GST council meeting they will decide, okay, whether to keep tax rates as it is or we need to make modifications. So you have seen some of the modifications made in the GST system, okay. So from its implementation, for some of the products they have reduced GST from 18 to 12%, okay. All these are based on the discussions made in GST council meeting, okay. So that's why, based on the requirement, GST was implemented, okay, so few years back. But even today, that policy will be reviewed by this GST Council. Okay, so depending on the needs of the market, they make some changes. Okay, procedures. Okay, so as we discussed, procedures are required to implement policy. Okay, policies are carried out by means of more detailed guidelines called procedures. Okay, most of the companies or most of the organizations have SOP, that is standard operating procedure. That means if some decision need to be taken, for that there is a standard operating procedure. They will follow those set of steps, okay, to implement a policy. Okay, so that is the procedure. So already predefined procedures, they are like predefined things. Okay, so a procedure provides a detailed set of instructions for performing a sequence of actions involved in doing a certain piece of work. The same steps are followed each time that activity is performed. So here you can understand the difference between policy and procedure. Okay, policies are general guides or general guidelines to both thinking and action of people at higher levels, whereas procedures are general guidelines to action only. Okay, it is not about thinking, it is about only action, how to implement. It is about implementation, usually for people at lower levels. Okay, policies are framed by top level management, and procedures, so these are implemented by low level management or first line managers. Policies help in fulfilling the objectives of the enterprise. Procedures show us the way to implement policies. Policies are generally broad and allow some autonomy in decision making. That means, so you can make some, there is some flexibility in policy, whereas procedures are specific and do not allow liberty. So here there is no freedom, or there is no much flexibility. There is not much flexibility. Policies are often established without any study or analysis. Okay, but before considering any policy for its implementation, okay, there will be a thorough study. Okay, you may a policy at the policy level. Okay, so it may not require study or analysis, but before going for implementation, that means while defining a procedure for a particular policy, okay, you are going to conduct thorough study and analysis. Companies are going to conduct thorough study and analysis. Okay, we know the consequences of random policies and random procedures. Okay, so if some decision is taken without proper understanding of the implications of that particular decision, then it results in a lot of consequences. Okay, one such example is, we know the consequences of demonetization. Okay, so that was the policy implemented without any study or without any analysis. Okay, that's why there is enough data to suggest that that was a unplanned policy which was implemented in a very unplanned manner, and even today the nation is suffering from that policy. Okay, and you can understand its implications. Okay, so I will share in next class. Okay, in after discussing the steps in planning. Okay, so where we are going to discuss about the demonetization in detail. Okay, its consequences, and you can also watch some of the videos from chief economist of former chief economist of World Bank. Okay, that I will share in next week after discussing steps in planning. Okay, next, advantages of procedures. They indicate a standard way of performing a task. They facilitate executive control over performance. That means, some of the functions of management, directing and controlling. Okay, so they are also functions of management. In order to control and direct, you should have a plan. Okay, so and these procedures are nothing but these are also plans. Okay, you are going to execute control. You are going to direct subordinates based on these plans, based on these procedures. limitations of procedures. They limit the scope for innovation or improvement of work performance. Okay, this is one of the major limitation. Every individual, okay, so is having some his own creativity. Okay, so most of the individuals they want freedom. Okay, or they enjoy flexibility. Okay, they don't enjoy rigid environment. Okay, even you don't enjoy sitting in classes before corona. Now you may be worried about when all offline classes will be started, but before that, okay, you are not interested to sit in class because of the rigid environment in the class. Okay, similarly, that is the human nature. Okay, so if the procedures are rigid, if they don't allow for creativity of the workers, then okay, that is say limitation. People think they will get bored with the repetitive tasks they need to do every day for 8 hours. Okay, they sometimes procedures sometimes result into so much duplication, overlapping and conflict that the actual work does not get done properly and resources are wasted. You know what happens in case of when you want to get some work done in government offices. Okay, repeatedly they will ask for some documents. Okay, you need to submit document online, offline. Okay, so in soft copy, in hard copy. So because if they say why I need to submit it in hard copy when I already submitted online, what they will say, it is a procedure we have adopted. Okay, this may be applicable even in college also. Okay, so that is the problem with procedure. Since it is already defined, subordinates need to follow these procedures. But you know there will be duplication. That means in soft copy also you need to provide the document. In hard copy also you have to provide the document. At times, same document may be produced in 3 copies or 4 copies. Okay, these are the problems with the procedures. Next, methods. Method is a prescribed way in which one step of a procedure is to be performed. Okay, it is related to steps in a procedure. Okay, method is a prescribed way in which one step of a procedure is to be performed. Rules are detailed and recorded instructions that a specific action must or must not be performed in a given situation. Okay, what should be done or what should not be done is specified by the rules. Okay, next, these are related to, okay, so recurring plans. So that means repetitive plans. Next, single use plans. These plans are developed to achieve a specific end. When achieved, the plan is dissolved. The example is a budget. Okay, budget is valid for what duration? Okay, if you consider budget of state government or budget of central government, it is applicable for what time period? Hmm?
Sir, one financial year.
One financial year. Okay, that means after that it is of no use. That means it is like use and throw. It is applicable for only 1 year. Okay, that is one of the example of single use plans. Okay. So again, types, programs and budgets. Okay, if you consider program, 5-year plan is the program. Okay, it is applicable for 5 years. Again, after that, new another program will be implemented after 5 years. Okay, 6th 5-year plan, 7th 5-year plan, like that, 8th 5-year plan, like that. New plans will be framed after that. It will become outdated or obsolete after a particular duration. Okay, programs are precise plans are definite steps in proper sequence which need to be taken to discharge a given task. The essential ingredients of every program are time phasing and budgeting. Okay, you can consider mechanical engineering is a mechanical engineering undergraduate program. Okay, so that means the duration it is 4 years. you know the budgeting. Okay, every year how much fees you need to pay. So that is the part of a program. Okay, 4-year BE course, Bachelor of Engineering course, is a program. Duration is time phasing. Duration is 4 years, and if you want, you can take up to 8 years. Okay, that is the time phasing. Budgeting is, again, you know how much fees you need to pay every year. That is the budgeting. If you consider any training program also, same thing applicable. Training for 1 month, certification program, fees will be this much. Okay, every week you have this number of classes. That is, you have time phasing and budgeting for most of the programs, and that is applicable for a particular duration. Budgets are plans for a future period of time containing statements of expected results in numerical terms, that is rupees, man hours. So it is a, if you consider a budget of a manufacturing company, then they are going to consider man hours. So that means in order to complete a particular task, okay, how many hours a worker need to perform his duty, that is the man hour. Okay, next, product units and so forth, and other things. Okay, the important budgets are sales budget. It is related to, in 1 year, how many units of a product need to be sold in the market. So that is the sales budget. Then production budget. Okay, it is about what are the raw materials required, what are the resources required to produce a particular number of units of a product. Then cash budget. Okay, it is related to how you are going to get cash, that is liquid money. Okay, revenue and expenses budget. Okay, these are planned by the organizations or manufacturing or service companies. Okay, next, I will continue steps in planning in next class. Okay, for your first AE, syllabus will be till this types of plans. Okay, I will share the PPT later. Okay, so by this evening I will share the PPT of planning part also. So till here, this is the syllabus for CIE. Okay.